Bharat and India, these things we hear all the time. So, and the disparity is, you have to say this, but also people feel that is growing. The poor will be poorer with higher aspiration, and then there is a kind of thinking that we feel that amnesia of the poor also. So these are the things that we are going to talk about. So I know there are many, many things all of you will have to ask later. So without taking more time, let me just start. But I think the foremost in my mind is today that I really want to know is about the youth. Because the average age of India, young people will be about 20, they say, I've been told, as opposed to 40 and 24, as opposed to 40 in America. Yeah. So it's obviously, and there is a large number of them, and we saw quite a few coming out in protest during the Anna Hazare time and during the recent 16th of December. And there is a lot of expectation from the youth. Now, is it, we also have been young once upon a time. I'd really like to know, has there been no contribution of the youth at that time when we were a new India, new independent India? So what do you think? And being a teacher, you're so much in touch with today's youth also. So how would you see the youth today, and in your time, when you were at Presidency College, what was the contribution of the youth then?
No, do I need it or not?
That's working quite
It's working? Amazing.
See, this is the distrust that we have. Anything working or not working.
Well, I think the picture of the youth is very difficult to disentangle from that of others, not so young. If you think about Presidency College, obviously I'm enormously lucky in having great classmates like Kolkata Book Fair, bookshop, so to go to recently died. I can think of great many people who enriched my life at that time. But it was also a relationship with teachers, including young teachers like Tabu Wajula, who was only about 6 years old, but then I think I became a great teacher and so on. So I think it may be very difficult to separate out of the role of the youth from that of the other, since we live together in families, in societies, and so on. I think what is really worrying is not so much what the youth is doing, but what opportunities for the youth we are creating, and what freedom, and what attitude of mind we are creating today. I think that's really quite important. And I think our educational things, the schooling problems are very big. I'm very lucky that with my Nobel money I could start these two trusts, one in India, one in Bangladesh. And we still, 33 trusts, we study the educational and health delivery. And the situation is really quite terrible. The schools are often inadequate, and there are few hospitals often are extremely inadequate. The healthcare is probably the biggest failure of India. But there's also the division of the class, of which caste is a part of I'm not denigrating it in the sense that caste as a status, but class is classification, which could be written for workers or another for, Adam Smith put it, workers and masters. But there's also upper caste and lower caste. And these divisions are very big. And I think awareness of that is far less in India than it should be. I mean, even when we people talk about, say, ordinary people, you're talking mostly about people who come home and say high electricity prices, cooking gas. most Indians don't have any instrument in which cooking gas could be used. 1/3 of the Indians don't have electricity connection. When the newspaper hollered rightly that on the blackout day last year, 600 million Indians were plunged into darkness. And it felt very good that the newspaper should holler, because it indicates a lack of system which needs remedying. But what they didn't mention that 200 million out of those 600 million never had any power anyway. So they were not specially plunged that night. They're plunged into that every night. So I think into anything that for me is very important is the kind of questioning about what kind of India we are inheriting and how we could deal with that. And I think President was a wonderful place from that point of view. It's being revived now here, and I'm pleased to first of all to cheering the mental group here. But I think, our teachers were good, but I think the biggest thing were our students were terrific, and my classmates were, I can't say, some of the conversations I had with him took much of what he left. Even now I can remember how some horizons of mine were getting widened. I will focus on that. And now, in some way, all that agitation about gang rape and so on, and we can talk about that later, had broadened something, an awareness. It hadn't fully broadened. It was nothing as good as the protest that happened. And yet, when people say that, it is so unusual in India, it doesn't happen in Bharat. That has all completely overlooked the fact that Dalit girls have been violated and molested and raped over the years, and still there isn't adequate protection of that. That doesn't mean resent the protection of God. I don't take the view that you either have a perfect system or nothing. On the other hand, it is really quite important to know what the country is like. There's a wonderful book, I think it's Live and Killing, called The Moral Obligation to be Intelligent. Now, it's a kind of slightly odd title, but I think the moral obligation to be informed is very serious. And youth is the kind that information is at its biggest penetrating power.
You know what, you have said so many things from
Yes, I'm sorry. People point out I speak at length.
It's wonderful.
Can you speak
We'll have
less
to take
extensively?
all those things and we have to discuss them individually because they're also important. Also important from your, the class analysis that was the left was so interested in, how the caste has overshadowed many things. But I just want to, since I had asked that question, I want to quickly just ask you this, that while we are talking about youth participation and wanting so much that India's future lies with our youth, because when I saw the protests and their voice was amplified, the various members of the youth were asked to speak, and although they were huge in numbers, but their vision of what they had to say wasn't the same. And there were things like public lynching and chemical castration and many other things that were voiced, and often voiced in with other issues also. That's why I was wondering that when I see the youth, obviously millions of youth I do not see, but in the periphery of my influence and association, I find that today's youth is very aspirational. They're thinking of money, cars, upwardly mobile. They're not really engaging with the issues, and they have a kind of a superficial attitude to, let's say, gender issues right now. We are all talking about it. So there is that, and then at the drop of a hat, they say privatization, government is bad. So that things are not really thought out, and they don't take a holistic view of that. So has that always happened, or is this a new phenomena? Is this something, like you said, coming back to how we are nurturing our youth? How do we mobilize this youth? Is it